Right in the middle of downtown Huntsville, Alabama, stands Alabama Constitution Village. It was there on the site you see behind me where Alabama officially became a state almost 200 years ago.
This place really came about in the summer of 1819, or even before that. It was on these grounds that Alabama's Constitution, first state constitution, was written. And the work that was done here in July of 1819 led to Alabama becoming the 22nd state in the Union.
And there's all kinds of buildings here on the property. Can you kind of go through the list here and kind of tell me what we can expect to see in each building and maybe the name of the building?
Well, as people visit, of course, there are four primary buildings here, and then there are a lot of outbuildings and sort of accompanying buildings. But the cabinet shop, or what we call Constitution Hall, it's a large white two-story frame building that was actually the site where the Constitution Convention was held in 1819. And so it was a working cabinet shop at the time, but it had a large open space on the second floor, and so it was there that they chose. It was the biggest open space that they could get the Constitution Convention in. So that's there, and we interpret that every day. You can come in and see the cabinet, the woodworkers going in the cabinet shop, and even we'll let people take a little try at it. And then you can go upstairs and see the area that the Constitution Convention was held in. So it was an exciting time. The other buildings that are around were people who were involved in the Constitution Convention and lived in Huntsville, Madison County at that time. We have Sheriff Neal's house. Now, Sheriff Neal was the first sheriff of Madison County, and it was a rather well-known figure here, and was involved during the Constitution Convention and taking care of everyone. We have the Clay building, and Clay was an attorney here in town, and he was extremely involved, as you might imagine, as an attorney with the constitutional process and all of the politics of the day in 1819. But also, what's unique to his house, to his home, was he not only had his office there, but the Surveyor General, the man who, the group that mapped out the entire county, North Alabama, the territory involved in that, were housed here in Clay's offices. And also Clay, he also leased out part of his offices to the post office. So the U.S. Post Office was here, as Huntsville was the seat of Madison County. So we had the post office here as well, and they wrote out. Right behind me here is the post rider stable. So the post office was here, and the riders would come in and let their horses rest while they got their next load and went on. We also have the Boardman complex, or the Boardman house, and this is a house. John Boardman, very important figure back in 1819, because he had the printing press, and the printing press. His press, the Boardman press, actually is the press that printed the Constitution for Alabama, the first Constitution, and it was later distributed to all the citizens and also taken to Washington to be signed or to be used as part of signing into statehood. But also in the Boardman House was Alabama's first public library. It was a small and modest library, but it was the first, and many books, and we still try to replicate that and let people tour and see what it may have looked like.
Talk about just also just the historical significance of this area, of this part of town. I mean, you said you had to go back and do some research to find out that this was the actual area where the buildings originally were built, right?
Yeah. Well, like many cities throughout the South, throughout the country, urban sprawl and just development throughout the ages. I mean, 200 years ago, this looked a bit like it might look now. However, throughout the last 200 years, different things had been built here, things had been knocked down. There wasn't as much protection of historic sites and things like that, unfortunately. So in the 70s, there was an archaeological dig that was done here to find the foundations of these buildings. They knew this was the spot or whereabouts, but they wanted to find out. And the dig was extensive. We found the foundations, and then the buildings were built historically correct. A lot of research by a late architect known as named Harvey Jones, an incredible man, but painstakingly detailed the buildings, used the materials that would have been used in 1819 and the building techniques as well. So it's a real special place, and it is the seat of Alabama history, to tell you the truth.
As we do this interview, I'm hearing lots of children suddenly behind us. What's going on as we do this interview today?
Well, Constitution Village is an incredible destination for field trips. all year long because they want to come here and learn how Alabama became a state and learn about Alabama history. But this time of year, when the weather is so fantastic, the springtime, we do what we call this entire week, or 2 weeks actually, it's our Folk Life Festival. And we really ramp it up with all kinds of hands-on folk life things. There'll be cooking going on, the beekeepers here. We've got the small animals that the kids can participate with. There'll be candle dipping and other types of crafts that would have been done in 1819. So this is a big day, big field trip day for us, and I think there's about 400 kids coming in today. So it's an exciting time, and it's great to see their smiles as they learn from all the hands-on history.
And this isn't the only event of the year, is it?
No. Like I said, we do all types of stuff. We're a nonprofit organization. We run 3 museums in downtown Huntsville. This is one of those, but we're constantly having to be creative and do fundraising type of activities. But we always tie those back to the schools. We want to tie in some education, and for any visitor that comes, whether you're with a school or just touring on a weekend trip. But one of our bigger ones is during Christmas, and this place magically turns into Santa's hometown. We drop the statehood lesson for a little while and the folk life lesson, and we bring the tradition and the legend of Santa Claus to life. Santa's house is reconstructed or rebuilt and decorated. The reindeer take the place of the goats and the sheep. The cabinet shop, it turns into Santa's toy workshop, and there are lights and sounds and hot chocolate and thousands of people coming through to enjoy, meet Santa. The elves will be scurrying about. It's a fantastic time, and it's a good use of this facility. We really enjoy it. That lasts all December, from Thanksgiving all the way to Christmas Eve, and then Santa leaves and does what he does.
So it definitely keeps you busy all year round, it sounds like.
Oh yeah. There's not many days we sit around and go, well, what should we do now? It's a fun thing, and everyone really enjoys it, especially when you have the kids come in like this and you just see they're smiling and they're happy and giggling. That makes all the world of difference.
If our viewers wanted to come for a visit because they may not have heard of this place before, what should they do?
Well, they can check us out at earlyworks.com. Online and see what they want to do. But we're open all summer. We've got walking tours of downtown. We sit in the historic downtown Huntsville. And when I say historic, I really mean that. We have more antebellum homes in Huntsville than anywhere else in Alabama, and I think there might be even more than anywhere else in some part of the South. But we do walking tours of downtown that leave from here every Saturday morning. But they can come in, we give tours, we get them involved. They can visit some of our other museums. The Historic Depot is another one we have, which is a Civil War era depot. And then the Early Works Children's Museum, which is the South's largest hands-on history museum. So, folks they can come in anytime. We're open Tuesday through Saturday, and it's a fantastic outing, even if you're just driving in for the afternoon. Come in, visit with us, go have lunch somewhere downtown, visit another museum, and head out. Of course, you can always hit the Space Center on your way out of town, too.
If you would like to visit Alabama Constitution Village, the address is 109 Gates Avenue in Huntsville. It's about a 3-hour drive for any NCTC customer. Reporting in Huntsville, Alabama, Barry Hyatt, NCTV.